Hello, my name is Alek, and welcome to another episode of Roasting with Us in 88 Grains. Today, we are going to roast something different. We roasted Central American coffees, we roasted Ethiopian coffees, but this time we are moving to Asia, and we are going to roast this lovely Riverdale coffee from India.
Okay, so today we are starting off with slightly lower temperature due to the fact of roasting an Indian coffee. I will explain why in a couple of minutes. So we start off with 230 Celsius degrees on IBTS temperature sensor and power with 7 and 5 on fan. So we're back to our usual starting point. This coffee is kind of unusual. First thing is that it's Indian coffee. I don't have personally too much experience with Indian coffees or Asian coffees. They're not so popular here. And the second thing is that this particular coffee is SLN 9 variety, which is actually a crossbreed between Ethiopian variety and the Timor hybrid. And as you may know, Timor hybrid is obviously a crossbreed or a hybrid between Robusta and Arabica, or Robusta and Canephora. Call it however you want. This creates resistance to diseases, coffee leaf rust, but on the other hand, the Ethiopian variety input is higher, which gives us more quality that we actually want in a coffee, and that's what we actually focus on in 88 grains. And the coffee being 1/4 Robusta basically require us to roast slightly longer than usual varieties, Arabica varieties. That's why you will see we are aiming actually for first crack to happen probably around 10th minute, and we are trying to put as much energy as we could. That's why we are actually not doing much during the first part of the roast, and we are holding up our P7 most of the time. Our roasting specialist also mentions that it can be tricky and it requires higher input of energy after the first crack and around the first crack. So I will take this tip with our roast. And as you can see, we are slightly slower than usual, and that's what we were aiming actually for. So drum on 9 as always. We don't change it much. I think I've never changed it, to be honest. For 1 kilogram roaster with this dimensions of drum, it just works. So I don't want to change it much and just focus on my 2 parameters that are usually even, very even as well. The coffee is also very brown to the scorching and scorching the beans at the beginning of the roast, So I was double checking if everything is fine in this with this particular defect, but it's all fine, don't worry. So our rate of rise is slowing down, as it actually should be. We are getting closer and closer to the yellow phase, which will be around 150 degrees on bean temperature sensor, so the regular probe. And as always, we are using 600 grams of coffee in this roast, so that's worth to mention. And we did our first change, slightly dropping the power input down to 6, and we are in a yellow phase at the moment, so I can't see any more of the green shade on our beans. Fan and drum stays on the same level at all times. So far, we'll see. The first change was actually forced by, as you can see, IBDS rate of rise was dropping at the beginning, but then started to rise again a little. So to mitigate any flicks, I did just change to P6 to have this lovely constantly dropping rate of rise, which is not always way to go, but it's a good starting point. This coffee grows at 1,500 meters above the sea level, so it is quite dense, not only because of the variety and the robusta, but also the attitude of the coffee. As I mentioned, I don't have much experience. We can see a small flick in our rate of rise, but we make one more change to mitigate it. As I mentioned, I don't have too much experience with the Indian varieties. We roast it as a blend with some others in the roastery I work for. They are great for some people. They're definitely different than African or Central American coffees. Not only because of the varieties or the terroir, but also the processing there. It's slightly different, and it requires more attention. Requires more attention because of the fact of high humidity there in Asia, so they have very humid environment that requires a lot of that creates actually a lot of issues with drying. We are actually getting closer to the first crack, so I'm just focusing on looking to first signs of first crack. With the slower roasts, it's slightly more difficult to hear the first crack, but yeah, because of the slower buildup of the pressure inside the bean. So the higher the pressure is with the, for example, slow roast and very fast roasts, the crack is much more hearable, I would say. In our case, it's very hard to hear. And I think that Robusta input is also the reason why it's so late in the roast comparing to the other coffees we've roasted before. And there we have it. I don't have too much experience with Indian coffees, but the Robusta is one of our best sellers in the roastery I work for. And I would definitely agree that this could be the genetics of Robusta. As you can see, right after the first crack, the temperature started to slow down again, even though I've changed the power setting sufficiently before first crack, even though rate of rise is lowering down. Not nothing to be afraid of, but still. And we are actually roasting for filter coffee, so my usual would be 1 minute to 1 minute and 15 to maybe 30 seconds for some bigger varieties, but here we are going to slightly longer than usual. Just double checking the color and the smell. I'm not sure what to do, to be honest. And one more change after the first crack. We're still quite high for this batch size, and at 140 development we drop the beans. And there we have it. This is how I would approach washed SLN 9 from Riverdale Coffee Estate in India.
Coffee is roasted, so now it's time to brew it. Today we're using Aillio V60 and we are going to use 21 grams of coffee to 360 grams of water. Obviously start with the paper filter. I'll grab the water. The water is preheated to 95 Celsius degrees. Rinsing the filter to get rid of the papery taste. Straight away from the cup to the ground coffee, we have a lot of aromas that reminds me of roasted nuts. And now move on with the pre-infusion with 60 grams of coffee with water. I'm swirling it to agitate all the grounds and make sure that all the grounds are wet, even the ones on the bottom of the brewer. And now we wait 30 more seconds. This allows the water to penetrate the coffee beans, coffee particles, so they will extract more evenly. Even some chunks are bigger than the smaller ones. And at 45 seconds, we'll brew Pour another part of the water until we will see on our scale 250 grams, sorry. One more swill. This one is to get all the grounds from the sides of the dripper to get into the brewing, so we'll have all of them brewed evenly. And at 1 minute and 30 seconds, we'll be slowly adding rest of our water, so 110 degrees until we'll see on the scale 360 grams. This time we're going to do it way slower to avoid any unnecessary agitation. At this point, coffee grounds are extracted mostly, so we don't want to brew too fast at this point. So we don't want this bitter and unpleasant compounds. There we have it. Last swirl. If you like very nutty coffees, this is definitely the way the coffee to go. Straight away, while it's still brewing, I can smell nuts, some sort of fruitiness, but very gentle and very delicate. And the nuts are like popping out of the coffee. I believe that this coffee will be also very good as an espresso. Let us know down in the comments if you want to see the roast profile and roast profiling and brewing as well of espresso coffee for this particular one. Because this is the coffee that we're going to have more often in our offer, so we'll have plenty of it for you. And I believe it's great coffee for daily drinks. Okay. Now all that's left is taste it. Let's do it together. First, we can have a sniff from the carafe. And as I thought, there's a lot of nuts, a lot of caramely vanilla flavors. That's super sweet, like a dessert in a cup. Yeah, it's the same here. There's some caramely flavors, mostly some of those nuts as well. Super sweet, very low acidic. When it cools down, it shows a little bit of red fruits, kind of maybe strawberry, very sweet and ripe one, but very gentle. Yeah, the coffee is dominated by the nuts flavors, and it's very round and soft, and stays very long on your tongue. So yeah, this would be great match for espresso. So one more time, let us know if you're interested in seeing me roasting coffee for espresso this time. And this is it. See you next time. Cheers.